Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. We are going to completely change the way you look at the tiny creatures sharing our planet. You know, we so often dismiss them as just creepy crawlies or annoying pests, but today we're going to look at insects for what they truly are, absolute marvels of biological engineering. We're talking about nature's ultimate machines, perfectly adapted, highly specialized, and incredibly complex.
To get us started, I want you to imagine, just for a second, having an anatomy this alien. Seriously, what kind of creature wears its skeleton entirely on the outside of its body and breathes, not through its mouth, but through little holes in its sides? I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, doesn't it? But this is the everyday reality for the most successful group of animals on Earth.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. 1. The ultimate bug blueprint. 2. Armor, molting, and growth. 3. The 3 body regions. 4. Inside the insect machine. And 5. The major insect orders.
Section 1. The ultimate bug blueprint. So out of all the arthropods out there, insects stand apart because they always have exactly 6 legs. But the real defining feature of this blueprint, it's the exoskeleton. This is a hard external skeleton made of a super tough substance called chitin. And what's truly wild here is how comprehensive this armor is. It covers absolutely everything. We are talking about their legs, feet, eyes, antennae, and get this, even their internal breathing tubes. And because this rigid shell cannot expand, once an insect reaches adulthood, it can never actually grow any larger.
Section 2. Armor, molting, and growth.
Which brings up a pretty obvious question, right? If an adult insect can't grow because of its hard shell, how do they ever get bigger? Well, the answer lies in their youth. The young stages of many insects, take a lambicorn larva from New Guinea, for example, look completely different from the adults. They're soft, fleshy, kind of grub-like. To grow, they have to molt. Beneath their old, hard skin, a brand new soft skeleton forms. The insect then literally gulps in extra air to puff itself up, splits the old skin right open, and steps out of it. They do this shedding routine several times early in life, before finally producing a pupa or chrysalis, which eventually yields that fully armored adult we recognize.
Section 3. The 3 body regions.
Now, every adult insect is divided into 3 highly specialized equipment zones. First up, you have the head. This acts as the control center, completely packed with sensors and feeding apparatus. Then comes the thorax. Think of this as the engine room. It's made of 3 segments, carrying those signature 6 jointed legs and, usually, the wings. And finally, we have the abdomen. This is the maintenance equipment hub, containing the heart, the digestive system, and sexual organs, all wrapped up and protected by a flexible, wax-covered cuticle that prevents water loss.
Let's zoom in on the head for a minute because the sensors mounted here are just incredible. Imagine experiencing the world through these. They've got compound eyes made of hundreds of tiny, simple lenses that allow them to detect movement in practically every direction all at once. Then they have antennae, which can be long and thin or short and hair-like, and they use these to detect air currents, vibrations, and smells. And right on their mouth parts, they have palps. These are essentially little feelers completely dedicated to tasting and smelling their food before they actually eat it. It is an insanely highly tuned sensory array.
Moving down to the thorax, if you picture a beautifully armored stag beetle from northern Australia, you'll probably notice its shiny, hard surface. Well, those are actually wings. In beetles, the front pair of wings is adapted into heavy-duty hard cases called elytra. They act as a tough shield to protect the body. When it's time to take off, these hard elytra are lifted forward, and the delicate, much larger flying wings automatically unfold from underneath. It's quite literally a built-in retractable roof.
Section 4. Inside the insect machine. So we've seen the exterior armor, but the stark difference between human biology and insect engineering really hits home when you look under the hood. We have lungs, they don't. We have a massive, hyper-complex brain. Their nervous system is basically a simple main nerve with knots of nerve cells called ganglia, with one single ganglion in the head serving as a very basic brain. But here's the wildest part, honestly. Our blood carries oxygen to keep us alive, right? Well, an insect's blood, which is pumped by a long, thin tube of a heart in their upper body, carries only food. It does not carry oxygen at all. Let that sink in for a second.
So if their blood doesn't carry oxygen, how on earth do they breathe? Through a remarkably efficient built-in ventilation system. They take in air through spiracles. These are literal openings on the outside of their bodies which they can actually close to prevent water loss. This air travels through trachea, a massive network of branching tubes delivering air directly to every single part of the body. And for high-performance activities like flying, they have air sacs in their abdomen. These are built-in reservoirs that act like turbochargers, supplying massive amounts of air straight to those flight muscles in the thorax. Very active insects even actively pump their bodies to force air in and out of this system.
And running right down the center of this machine is a perfectly optimized assembly line for fuel, the digestive system. It's basically a continuous tube broken down into 3 super efficient steps. First, the foregut breaks up the raw food materials. Then, the midgut digests that food so the blood can carry it away. Finally, the hindgut acts as a highly efficient waste management facility, carefully extracting any excess water from the remains to keep the insect hydrated before finally ejecting the waste.
Section 5. The major insect orders. Now, having built this highly efficient master bug blueprint, evolution went ahead and customized this machine into massive, incredibly diverse families known as orders. Take the Lepidoptera order, for instance. That's your butterflies and moths. That name actually means scale wings, referring to the thousands of tiny scales that give them those brilliant rainbow-like colors. Compare that to the Hymenoptera order, bees, wasps, and gnats. Their name means membrane wings, characterized by their thin, veined wings. Oh, and here's a crazy fact about Hymenoptera. The males in this entire order developed from entirely unfertilized eggs. No father required.
It's amazing how tiny tweaks to this blueprint create wildly different creatures. You've got Diptera, or flies, which have only 2 wings. Their hind wings evolved into tiny balancing organs called haliteres. Hemiptera, the true bugs, have half wings that are hard at the base and soft at the tip, armed with piercing, sucking mouthparts. Odonata, like dragonflies, have large adapted jaws to snatch prey right out of midair. Orthopoptera, that's crickets and grasshoppers, feature those super strong hind legs optimized for jumping and singing. And Dermaptera, the earwigs, have hind wings curiously folded under really short skin wings. Each order is a completely unique variation of our master machine.
And when you add up all these distinct variations, you arrive at this absolutely staggering number. There are over 1 million known species of insects on Earth today. That is an immense biological family tree, literally dwarfing almost every other type of animal life combined. So the next time you see a beetle scuttling across the sidewalk or a bee buzzing around your garden, just remember what you're really looking at. We are surrounded by millions of these perfectly engineered, heavily armored, air-pumping biological machines. And with so many species still completely unclassified, it really leaves you wondering, what other alien-like machinery might be hiding right in your own backyard, just waiting to be discovered? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your eyes open to the miniature marvels all around us.